The next value we have to calculate is the variance. But if we scroll up, we'll notice that we're talking about the sample of time in the emergency room. So let's clarify this and put in sample variance. And if our variance is from sample data, so is our standard deviation. So let's put that in as well. So how do we calculate the sample variance? First of all, variance is the arithmetic mean of the squared deviations from the mean. So we need to square the deviations, and first we have to find the deviations. Well, fortunately, we've already done that. We want to find the deviation from our observed value and the mean. We have a column that we've already made for that. So the observed value is 9, subtract our mean, 91.9, and we get negative 82.9. However, we need the squared differences, or the squared deviation. And if we just put a caret, which is the Shift 6 key, and 2, that's to indicate that we are dealing with the power of 2. If you wanted to, you could go in. Put in your superscript there so it's cleaner. Now, Excel has a function called power that you could go in and you can calculate the power or the square or to any power, raise it to any power that you want. But just to make it clear and easy, what we'll do is we'll just take this x minus x bar and multiply it by itself. That's how we will square it. Double click our lower right hand corner. Excel is nice enough to do the calculation and copying the formulas for us. The next step that we have to do is to do a sum of the squared deviations. And what do we get? 88,374.7. But we're not done. Because we are going to calculate the standard. In order to calculate the population variance, we have to divide that sum. So we're going to divide that sum by n minus 1. And I know you can do the math and put a 29 in the bottom, but I'm doing this just for clarity's sake. Our n is 30 minus 1. And we get 3047.403, depending on how wide your column is. And we'll just bring it down here to 3047.4034. And that is our sample variance. We can put that right up here. We can either just do a cell reference, or we could type it in. And the sample standard deviation is simply the square root, which Excel has a formula for, equals SQRT. It's the square root of the sample variance. And we get 55.20329. And again, I'll just take it down to 4 decimal places. So this is a sample data set. If we were looking at population data, it would be a little bit different. So let's copy our total again over here, our sum, right above here, just so we have a reference of what we're looking at, make it a little bit clearer. Now the difference is, for the population variance, we just take that sum and divide it by our n, which is 30. And then the population, if we were to calculate, if this were population data, which it's not, our population standard deviation is the same thing. It's still the square root of our variance. And you can see that the numbers are a little bit different for the population as what they are for the sample population, sample variance and sample standard deviation.